Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Connections by TalentStore. Today, we have Venkat Lingam from Singapore representing Scholars Alliance with us. And he's somebody that I met, I think, more than a year ago. I think I can't remember now.
Yeah,
But over the last year, we've kind of got to talking, and they have some very unique offerings to the market. And that was one of the reasons why we wanted them on board TalentStore. Good morning, Venkat. It's been this whole podcast has been something that we've been planning for a while. Finally, we got
right.
to it. How have you been?
I'm good, Arun. Thank you so much for this invitation, Arun. And finally, as you
Yeah,
said, we are on stage now.
right. Yeah. So let's start it off. I think maybe I just wanted to get a sense of how did you get started in Scholars Alliance? What was that origin story, and what was your background as well that made you want to go into this space?
Right, okay. I was a GM of a facilities management company for good 12 years. And I
Okay.
asked myself, what's next? You see, that's a favorite question. I always ask myself, what's next? You see, after
Yeah.
GM, there's no other seat for me to sit on. So that's when I
Okay.
left the scene and came into the training industry because I wanted to impart the leadership knowledge and all that. And
Okay.
so I built Scholars Alliance. So we used to set up private schools in Singapore.
Okay.
So that was a journey of my company. We used to set up, bring in courses from overseas, bring in students from overseas to Singapore.
Mm.
And this was like
Okay.
10, 14 years ago. And from there, became a trainer. So it's been good 14 years now that I'm a certified trainer.
Nice. Yeah. And so what was the reason why you decided to go into setting up private schools? Like, what was the objective behind that?
There was a great niche over there, especially in Singapore. Many foreign students were flying into Singapore to pursue diploma programs. The job attachments availability was there for them. So it was a great demand
Okay.
then. So that gave me an opportunity to fly out to India, to Nepal, to Philippines, to bring in the students, and go to UK to bring in their programs to Singapore.
Okay. And how did that evolve then into Scholars Alliance? Like, I know now you guys do something completely different, but how did
Yeah.
that kind of morph into Scholars?
Um, Eventually, the foreigners started seeing that Singapore, it's kind of an expensive country, so they started looking
Mm.
out for even like coming to Malaysia now. So from there, I
Yep.
went into training and education and developing courses, mentoring trainers in the market, and the government
Yep.
also came up with a lot of new programs for the corporates. The learning and development
Okay.
landscape really changed then, so that's all. I saw another need over there. So that's how I
Okay.
diversified. Yeah.
And you started primarily in Singapore, and then now you kind of have your reach outside of Singapore. How did that evolve as well?
Interestingly, I participated in some of the symposiums, international symposiums, as a speaker and all that. So that's where my network, the outreach was there, my connection was
Okay.
there. So even
Mm.
2 years back when I went to Europe, I went to visit all the coaches, whether it's in Germany, in France, or in Italy, in Switzerland. So I strengthened the relationship with them, and from
Okay.
there, that's how my network, all that was able to grow.
Okay. Cool. And so today, maybe you could speak a little bit more about Scholars Alliance. Like, what do you do? Like, what's the business model? What kind of courses did you offer to the market? What's your unique selling proposition is basically what I want to understand, or what the listeners want to understand as well. Can you speak more about
Sure.
that?
Right. So what we're offering now, despite all that the normal training programs that we have, right?
Yep.
We are offering organizations micro credentials,
Right.
all right, which is like bite-sized programs, which is developed by subject matter experts or organizations. For example, if you're looking into
Mm.
F&B or even tourism topics, right? So it's all developed
Yep.
by tourism board in Australia or an association in Australia. That's one thing that we're offering micro credentials.
Okay.
Secondly, are the digital badges, which is taking off slowly. The digital badges. I'm
Yep.
not sure they realize in LinkedIn, LinkedIn and in the Facebook and all that people after attending certain short courses, right? They are showcasing their digital badge today, in all these social media platforms. So there are a lot of plus points in digital badges, and also a lot of
Okay.
different plus points for micro credentials.
Right. And can you speak a little bit more about digital badges? Right. So from my understanding of digital badges, it kind of gives you that element of gamification. It kind of it's a way to to incentivize the learner. But is that what digital badges means for you at Scholars Alliance?
Let's look at three different parties here. First of all, the earner who earns the digital badge, right? Today's everything's
Okay.
about social media. So they're proud to showcase whatever they've attended, whatever
Hmm.
course they have attended to. So they're proud to showcase it on social media. And that creates a great
Sure.
awareness also. Okay. Um, Also, these digital badges are kind of virtual certifications where they can park it as your resume.
Okay.
The second party, I would say, is the issuer. Let's say a training provider is issuing digital badges instead of the soft copy certificate of completion, for example.
Yeah.
As I said, it's a great awareness, it's a great marketing tool for the training provider. So imagine if 20 participants attend a workshop and you issue out 20
Hmm.
digital badges. Imagine each participant may have 500 or 1,000 followers in their LinkedIn or social media. And that's great marketing already,
Right. Right.
right? That's the
And
second one. Yeah,
yeah.
continue.
And you mentioned it's great marketing, right? Have you seen a very strong ROI based on that? Like, I can imagine, right? Like what you mentioned, 20 people sharing digital badges to their followers. Has that had a very positive ROI for the issuer, right? For yourselves, for example, where people are coming now and saying, "Hey, I saw this on LinkedIn. How can you implement this for my organization, for my people?" Have you seen that positive feedback loop?
Even, okay, just very recently, last night, I had a meeting with a party in Cameroon. Okay,
Okay.
so they started issuing out digital badges. The amount of calls that's coming in to enroll in that particular program, but from the public, is quite vast.
Right.
So they are
Okay.
saying like 15% of ROI is there already now. You see?
Mm.
But because when you click on the digital badge, all the course details, all relevant information is
Ah.
there. The call to action is
Okay.
there. If you're interested in this
Okay.
course, please click on this website and all that. You see? So call to action is there. That's the biggest
Yeah.
plus point. And the third party that's finding it very useful and effective is, okay, for example, this couple of months ago, one person who dropped out from Nanyang Technology University, NTU in Singapore, was a dropout,
Mm.
faked her
Mm.
certificate, got three good jobs even with Walt Disney,
Wow.
and
Okay.
eventually found out that she manipulated and cheated on the certificate, right? So
Okay.
HR industry, hiring managers are preferring digital badges because it's encrypted.
Right. Okay. Got it.
Authentication is there. You can't edit it or whatever you're doing now. You can't, you see. So the three different
Sure.
parties are, it's a win-win-win for all of them.
Mm. Okay. Yeah. So I get your point now. I think the way I look at it is it's a way to authenticate that the participant has gone through the program. It's a way for the
Absolutely.
participant to kind of share awareness and to kind of also speak about the different skills that they're acquiring, but also for
Correct.
the training provider, it's a way to showcase what you are doing in the space, market a little bit, and hopefully drive more participants into the courses now. Uh,
Absolutely.
so then my question is, my is your business model then very B2C focused or still very B2B? Because from what I'm hearing, like you mentioned the Cameroon example where you have people from the public that are coming into
Hmm.
some of your courses and getting digital badges. But so that to me is more of a B2C approach. But then you also might have your B2B where a company like Coca-Cola reaches out to you and says, "Hey, I want you to run a program for my people, etc., etc." Right? So today, how is Scholars Alliance split? Like, do you guys have a fifth? What's that split between B2C, B2B?
We actually dealing B2B, Arun.
Okay,
From
so all
us
right,
to training providers. So they purchase blank digital badges and they design the badges
right,
any way they want. They put the information about the particular course in it. We call it the metadata.
right.
All the call to actions, URL links, all can be there, and they will issue up to their participants.
Okay, got it, got it, got it.
B2B,
All
and they will
right.
issue the participants. The participants are kind of ambassadors for these training providers already by showcasing the digital badges, social media.
Right, right, right. Okay, so that means you guys also offer your digital badges to other training providers.
Absolutely.
You
We target.
essentially license it, lah. I guess is that what you're saying?
Yep. Absolutely.
All right.
And not
Okay.
only for training providers, organizations like, we are issuing these badges as a membership badges. right?
Okay.
So that members will showcase it in their social media platform. This attracts curiosity from the public. Hey, what is
Right.
Arun? Who's this badge about? Can I join this
Yeah.
organization? Is it? And also these badges have expiry date on it.
Right.
So, for example, if you have to renew your membership within a year, I have put an expiry date for that badge, and it gets expired. So you got to renew it again.
Mm.
So a lot of flexibility is there and functions for
Okay.
you.
Got it. Nice. And so when you, so for example, on LinkedIn, you see a lot of these
Yes,
folks that come out and say, hey, I just completed a course
correct,
on
correct. Yeah.
ABC, and here's my certificate, etc., etc. So then, what you are saying is that the digital badge is an alternative that is encrypted. It's a way to authenticate that the person has actually gone through it. What other benefits do you see that digital badges offer besides encryption versus a certificate of completion?
As I mentioned, the plus point for all three parties: the earner, the issuer, and also the hiring
Okay.
manager. All right. My
Mm.
point here is, if you don't exist in social media today, you're left behind.
Yeah,
So
sure.
how are you capitalizing? I mean, you can invest a lot of digital marketing and all that, right? But how else can you use the patron or the participant who walked into your shop or to your store
Sure.
or to your organization? How else are you going to make them as an ambassador for yourself? Why are you just issuing a certificate which doesn't have any ROI on it? That's the
Right.
biggest question you got to ask yourself, you see? And it doesn't
Okay.
cost much also. It doesn't cost much at all. It's
Yeah,
a
exactly.
blockchain technology anyway, yeah.
Okay, nice. No, yeah, so something definitely interesting, right? Because I think this is something that we could take on, TalentStore could take on, to provide us on the platform to add a added layer of authenticity, right? Because I think in Malaysia, I'm pretty sure you're aware of the system and structure. You've been here many times, where you have thousands and thousands of suppliers on the training providers spectrum, right? And some of them may be good, some of them may not. So there's a lot of variability. And one of the questions that a lot of customers come to us is that, how do I trust a certain training provider over another?
Right.
Right? That question of quality always comes up. And that was one of the reasons why we wanted to create TalentStore, because then you can review
Yes.
and leave testimonials, etc., on the platform, right? It's a way to provide that quality assurance to a customer, right? So what you are proposing is there is also another option like digital badges that can be that conduit for quality.
Absolutely, you're
Okay.
spot on. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah. And so then, my other question is really like looking a bit forward, right? 1 to 5 years from now,
Right.
where do you see the learning space moving to, right? You live in Singapore, you've operated there for many years. You also do a lot of work in Malaysia. Specifically, in these two regions, I assume that Singapore may be ahead of us, right? Definitely.
I
But
wouldn't
how do
really agree.
you? Okay, yeah, we can get into that. But how do you see the next 5 years evolving, right?
You see, whether it was COVID period or not, the learning culture is still ongoing, whether in Malaysia, Singapore, in ASEAN areas, right? But
Yeah.
the landscape, the learning landscape, education landscape is becoming very exciting in the sense that, only yesterday I learned about a certain AI tool. Tomorrow there'll be a version 3 already. So this tells
Yeah.
us, right, the mindset. The first keyword I was used is the mindset. The mindset of the learners or the employees and the mindset of the organization has to be agile.
Okay.
I mean, gone are the days where we can follow a training calendar,
Yeah.
right, every quarterly. Also, today, the ever-evolving business industry, the demand is there. So, organizations need to facilitate these changes that's happening,
Yeah.
right? Number one. And number two, we ourselves, we like to upskill, we like to reskill ourselves, but we also have to go towards cross-functioning skills. Those days, the two keywords were relevancy and currency. I need to stay relevant, I need to stay current. But today, I need to
Okay.
do courses that will keep me sustainable for the next 5 years. So
Mm.
how agile is my mind towards all this, right?
Right.
So that's what's happening
Yeah.
in, I would say, the Asian market.
And you pressed on the point that you didn't agree with me on the Malaysia versus Singapore debate, right? So maybe you can tell us a little bit more, right? Because I think a lot of our audience comes from Malaysia, and we tend to see that uh, across the bridge, there are a lot more mature in terms of their L&D perspective. But what's your take on it?
You see, to be honest, 14 years in Singapore training, right? And I have done some few training stints in Malaysia. I do enjoy training in Malaysia simply
Okay.
because the pressure element is not in Malaysia compared to in Singapore. So they really
Yeah.
make the adult learning the fun way.
Right.
Okay. In
Okay.
Singapore, around there's a lot of assessment components. Now, which adult, which manager, which boss would like to come for a workshop and then finish up with an assessment? It's a bad word, right? So over here, the adults are learning and they enjoy more and they are coming forward to sign up for more courses.
Right.
You see,
Okay.
it's different dynamics over here.
And I think that's partially driven by the system that you guys have, right, in Singapore, right? I think, yeah, where you have that assessment component. Okay, I understand now. I mean, yeah, you're right. I think in Malaysia there is definitely a lot of uh, a lot of people that are resonating with learning and development. I think they realize that slowly their skills are being outdated, right? So they need to ramp up and reskill to
Correct.
stay relevant. But I think one thing that we can learn from the world is the different tools that exist. I think because there are just so many training providers in Malaysia, we tend to get jaded by what is out there, right? We don't really understand that the world might have so many more options.
Right.
Similarly, just like digital badges, that I think for majority of our audience, they probably have not seen or implemented it in any of their organizations, right? So I think that is a gap that we are trying to break through by pulling people from different countries onto the platform, onto TalentStore, I mean, and
Beautiful.
giving them more exposure to Malaysian organizations, and then hopefully that exposure grows into ASEAN and so on and so forth. Yeah. So I mean, just my last question. I think you mentioned uh, people need to stay relevant, current. That was the old way, but I think, well, what's your vision for what you would like the L&D industry to look like in 5 years, right? Not just from a perspective of training providers, but also from perspective of the people that are coming into your programs and stuff. Like,
Right.
what's your vision? What's your 5 year vision that you have in mind?
That we have to be future ready skills. We have to attain such future ready skills because there's a lot of growing emphasis on that now, right?
Okay.
And also the attention span is kind of shrinking today. So we
Yeah.
have to go towards bite-sized learning, or at least incorporate. You may have a 2 day workshop, all right, that's going to be outdated maybe. So try to
Yeah.
incorporate bite-sized learning micro credentials into your program because the working professionals they prefer short focus learning modules and they can
Yeah.
absorb the information more effectively. So that's the direction it's going now, towards
Okay.
bite-sized learning. Yeah.
Yeah. No, definitely, I agree. I think even from some of our clients, they're asking us for shorter um,
Right.
material, shorter courses, shorter programs. I think also just balancing between work and learning is getting
Yes.
tougher and
Yes.
tougher, right?
Yeah. So, for
Um,
example,
eh,
if I got a presentation to do, sorry, Arun, if I got a
yeah,
presentation to do tomorrow and I'm a bit rusty, for example, so I just go to Google, which no more a search engine. It's like an academy now, right? Just like
yeah, yeah,
LinkedIn
yeah,
Learning.
yeah,
So I just
yeah,
go
yeah.
into a 2 hour micro credential and I'm polished.
Mm,
I don't want to, I've got no time to attend a 2 day workshop.
sure, exactly. Yeah.
So that's how it's
No, yeah,
changing now. The landscape is changing.
correct. No, I agree with you. I think, yeah, we are in competition with Google and LinkedIn Learning, big
Yeah,
guys out there,
you're right. You're
and
right.
it's getting harder and harder to remain relevant. But I think there are a lot of great providers out there that are creating some amazing products, lah. So yeah, I want to thank you so much, Venkat, for
Thank you,
spending this
Arun. You guys are doing a great
15
job.
minutes or so with us. Thank you so much. And to all the audience, we run this weekly where we kind of speak to a lot of our providers on TalentStore, find out more. And I think the sole purpose is to give you awareness, right, that uh, all of these different providers exist, right, whether in Malaysia or within our neighboring countries. and hopefully that adds value to the L&D or learning development ecosystem in Malaysia and beyond. So thank you so much, and looking forward to meeting you guys in our next episode. Thank you so much, Venkat, for spending the
Thank,
time today.
thank you.